The paranormal, bizarre coincidence, and unexplained phenomena. This is Strange Podcast. Here we explore the unusual, the unknown, and just about everything that can be described as strange. This is episode 16. I'm Chris Batchelor. Thank you for listening. Years ago, something strange happened on a school playing field in Broad Haven, Wales, in the United Kingdom. A group of young school children spotted what they believed to be a spaceship and even a spaceman near their playground. But this wasn't a one-off sighting. Their claims came at a time of a wave of sightings in the area in 1977, leading that area to be known as the Dyfed Triangle. In this episode, we explore the mysterious Broad Haven UFO. So before we get into the main focus of this episode, I have a little bit of strange podcast news that I'd like to share with you. Now, as you may or may not know, I record this show from my attic studio in my home in the city of Plymouth in the UK. I fit in the recording of the podcast between my full-time job, looking after my 2-year-old Harry, and you know how busy 2-year-olds can be. And our news is we're expecting on the 12th of June this year a brand new baby. That due date seems to be ever fastly approaching. Now, the reason I mention this on the podcast is because I'd like to make you aware if there is a break in releasing episodes, or if the episodes of Strange Podcasts become quite infrequent, it's because we're settling in with a newborn whilst looking after our 2-year-old. Of course, that doesn't mean we're far too busy to release new episodes. My intention is to release as many as possible. But if there is a break in their frequency, or if they appear to be coming out on infrequent dates, then you know the reason why. And in addition to that, please do keep contacting us. I love receiving your emails and your messages through Facebook and Twitter. My email address is chris@strangepodcast.com, and I'm looking forward to hearing from you. Recently, we've been contacted by a listener on Facebook who wanted to share a quite emotional and inspiring message. We do have their full permission to include this message in this episode. So, here it is. Christina writes, "Hey Chris, I have a strange story that I thought I would share with you and your listeners. About 15 years ago, I had a boyfriend that tragically committed suicide in our house. He died of carbon monoxide poisoning in our garage after a bout of acute depression. The whole day while I was at work, I had this horrible feeling that something was wrong, and I couldn't place why I felt that way. Maybe I'd left something like the curling iron on or something. I felt very uneasy all day until I was finally home and realized that he had passed away. Life had changed as I knew it. I moved through the following weeks in a haze of shock, grief, and unimaginable sadness. When I was finally able to return to the house that we shared, it felt so empty. The first night that I spent alone in the house, following the funeral, was hard. I crawled into bed with my Great Dane Ikea and settled in for the night. It took a while to fall asleep, but a few hours after initially falling asleep, I awoke to my Great Dane growling quietly. I rolled over and noticed that all of the fur along the ridge of her spine was raised in fear. I looked at her and noticed that she was staring intently at the doorway to the bedroom. Just as my eyes were adjusting to the darkness, my deceased boyfriend came through the door and sat on the bed. He was in the process of getting ready for work. I was stunned and in disbelief. I stared at my dog and she was looking right at him. I asked what he was doing and he replied that he was getting ready for the day. I was shocked and blurted, "But you're dead. Your funeral was last week." He looked at me, but it seemed like he looked right through me. He then got up from where he was sitting and walked over to the entranceway of the bedroom, looked at us one more time, and then vanished. It was the strangest experience I have ever had. To this day, I often wonder if it was a dream, but my dog was definitely growling and wouldn't go into the bedroom unless I was there for the longest time. I honestly wonder if, due to the tragic circumstances of his death, he's now trapped there. But after he vanished, it never happened again. Maybe he was just saying goodbye. I have since sold that house and have moved across the country, but every once in a while I'm reminded of the encounter and it gives me chills. It was definitely a tough time in my life, and it certainly altered my trajectory in life. I have now become a nurse, specializing in psychiatry, and I use my story to help others. Well, once again, thank you, Christina, for sharing your story, a story which I found to be incredibly sad, emotional, but also inspiring at the same time. To take a death of a loved one and turn it into a positive where you can become and train as a nurse in order to help others to stop them going through something similar, I think truly is very inspiring, and you should be very proud. I'd also just like to add that if you or someone you know is suffering from acute depression and Christina's story seems quite familiar, then please go and seek help. In many countries, there are many professional bodies that can offer you help and guidance that you need. So please research what is available to you locally. In 1977, a class of pupils at the local primary school rushed in from the playground, their hearts pounding with fear. They claimed to have seen a strange silver object hovering just beyond their playground. The headmaster, Ralph Llewellyn, thought their claims were just a practical joke, but the pupils stuck to their story and even handed a petition into the local police station demanding that the incident be investigated. One of the pupils, David Davies, still clearly remembers what the craft he saw looked like. He said to a British tabloid newspaper, it was pearlescent silver grey, approximately 40 feet long, torpedo, cigar-shaped, with an upper domed section that covered the central third of the vehicle, which was topped with a red pulsating light. However, the strangest part of this story came when the headmaster decided he'd try to catch the children out. He sat the classmates down in exam conditions and had them draw out the craft that they'd supposedly seen. Remarkably, the drawings were all near identical. The incident propelled the tiny farming community into a media frenzy in what became the start of a major series of sightings. Here is an interview with some of the children explaining what they saw. This audio is courtesy of the BBC archive.
Well, I saw the spaceship. I didn't see the man. The spaceship, it looked a cigar shape with a dome on it. And it had a yellowy, orange to red light on the top of it.
How clearly did you see it?
Well, I couldn't see its face because it was too far away.
Oh, you say you saw a man as well, did you?
Yes.
And what about him?
Well, he was too far away to be seen as well.
My friend Philip here was trying to find a way over the stream, and I was looking at the bushes up the top of the trees. And then suddenly this silver cigar-shaped object seemed to pop up from behind the bushes and trying to take off, then it disappeared again.
Are you sure it wasn't perhaps just a helicopter or an aircraft from the airfield near here?
A helicopter could land there, but that's private property over there. And if they landed there, they could be prosecuted. And with an aircraft, the only thing that could get in there was a Harrier.
Were you frightened at the time?
Yes.
Why?
Well, I thought there would be a whole army inside there or something.
Weeks later, Pauline Coombs and her husband Billy were watching TV in their isolated farmhouse late at night when what they claimed to be a 7-foot humanoid figure in a silvery suit appeared at the window. Where its face should have been, there was just a black space. The police officers called to investigate the scene later admitted the family were so frightened they did not want to step outside their house. Perhaps the strangest incident of all occurred later the same year, when an entire herd of cattle apparently vanished, only to reappear in a field far away from their owner's farm. Public interest and the number of sightings continue to grow. Rosa Granville, a hotelier living near the school, was woken late at night by what she claimed to be a light coming from an object like an upside-down saucer in the field next to the hotel, emitting flames and with two faceless humanoid creatures with pointed heads. When Rosa reported the incident to the authorities, she was visited by a squadron leader from the RAF. He told her that there was nothing at the nearby airfield, RAF Broad, which could account for the strange craft. But mysteriously, he asked her not to tell anyone what she had seen. Rumours of a military investigation soon spread after the RAF's apparent attempts to hush a witness. But did these rumours carry any truth? Well, some would say yes. It's been suggested that a discreet military investigation did take place. So discreet, in fact, that even the Defence Minister and the British Parliament were unaware of its existence. According to documents held at the National Archive in Kew that have been recently released, a letter from the head of the MOD's S4 wing to the Provost Security Service, the RAF's internal police force, seemed to suggest so. The S4 chief wrote, "I've not even told the minister I'm consulting you," and called for a discreet inquiry after expressing bewilderment at the number of apparently level-headed witnesses to the strange UFO activity. Documents show how the MOD's UFO project asked the RAF police to conduct a secret investigation into these mysterious events, while Parliament, the media, and the public were being told the subject was of no defence significance. These disclosures have prompted Tory peer Lord Black of Brentwood to call for a full explanation from the MOD of what was uncovered. Lord Black said, "A number of recently released MOD files leave little doubt that a small number of sightings of aerial phenomena, particularly by military personnel, pilots and air traffic controllers, remain unexplained and unidentified. There needs to be further examination of these issues in the hope of learning something new." If you have any thoughts or comments on this episode, then why not share them on our website, strangepodcast.com/episode 16. You can also find us on Facebook and Twitter. Until next time, thank you for listening.